What's poppin', BSNians? Whew. Alright, so I did my video about the Star Wars Celebration announcements. There's a lot of big feelings and reaction. So I was like, you know what? Let me attempt to do the impossible, which is placate Star Wars fans with truth. So let's get a few things like in order. Huge, overwhelming Star Wars fan. Jude Watson, read all the books, read the novelizations of movies I'd already seen. I'm that generation, right? Watched the original trilogy first, could appreciate the sequels or the prequel for what it was, right? So, here's the thing. Star Wars, the original trilogy, was a very tight story. Very tight story. It explained all the things that need to be explained. There was a spiritual groundedness that it was not afraid of. The sci-fi was heavy. There was a definitive arc. Things made sense, right? And George Lucas obviously created Star Wars. Star Wars was unwatchable until George Lucas' now ex-wife, Marsha Lucas, got her hands on it because she was also a director in the industry at the time. She got her hands on the original cut and recut it and made it watchable. Once she recut it, then George was able to finalize the fullness of his vision, right? So we have the original trilogy. Awesome. Prequel trilogy. Execution not quite as tight, but the story is still tight. The story makes sense, and it gives us all of the echoes of the original trilogy while still making sense and opening the doors for other amazing things like Clone Wars, blah, 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 blah. Then you have the sequel set of 3 films. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There is no overarching story. It's not tight. It's attempting to throw out the essence of what Star Wars is to keep Star Wars. Marsha Lucas sees the sequel trilogy. She's like, they don't get it. They've totally missed and removed the heart of what makes Star Wars Star Wars. So you have Dave Filoni, who does everything in the spirit of George Lucas. Jon Favreau does not do everything in the spirit of George Lucas, but it's not for lack of trying. He understands it, right? The reason I give Force Awakens a pass is because I'm gracious. I'm generous. Disney had just acquired Star Wars. They didn't know what to do. They made a relatively safe movie that they could have easily built upon. Then they did not build upon it. And then, you have all these shows. But if you look at like Star Wars Visions is trying to get back to the heart of Star Wars. We're going to have to do another part to this, clearly.